Jeffery Goldberg, he of the titillating story of the day, Jeffery Goldberg was an IDF member and a prison guard in Israel. Wrote a book about it. You have to demonize your enemy if you're going to kill them the way they're killing them. I mean, you have to treat them subhuman. There's no other way to do it. That's the same thing we did with the Apaches, the Comanches, the Sioux, and others. Wounded Knee, all the places where we broke our treaties and did the ethnic cleansing in the most significant and profound ways. They were all Indians. They were all red people. They weren't human. They were subhuman.
Yeah, it's infuriating. What are your thoughts on this scandal, which in my opinion, the scandal is how this is being reported on. But as people know, Jeffery Goldberg, who you just mentioned, who is at The Atlantic, he, in a recent Signal thread between Pete Hegseth and others about war plans in Yemen, which is kind of an unusual place for top secret chats, a person was mistakenly added to the chat, and this has caused quite a stir. And that person was Jeffery Goldberg, former IDF soldier and prison guard, as well as the editor of The Atlantic. And according to Goldberg, these war plans against Yemen and Ansar Allah were sent to him by accident. So I'm curious what you think of this story. Signal war plans chat, read leaked texts in full. So let's take a look at some of these texts. So JD Vance, Pete Hegseth, if you think we should do it, let's go. And they're talking about bombing Yemen. I just hate bailing Europe out again. Let's just make sure our messaging is tight here. And if there are things we can do up front to minimize risks to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it. Pete Hegseth, VP, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. But Mike Waltz, Mike is correct. We are the only ones on the planet on our side of the ledger who can do this. Nobody else even close. Question is timing. I feel like now is as good time as any, given POTUS directive to reopen shipping lanes. I think we should go, but POTUS still retains 24 hours of decision space. This is after, so Michael Tracy tweets, celebrating the initiation of another open-ended U.S. bombing campaign with American flag and fire emojis is really touching. So a good start. And then Mike Waltz does the fist emoji, the American flag, and the fire emoji, which I mean, could be interpreted as, America is a dumpster fire, but I don't think that's what he meant. Then we have someone saying, good job, Pete, and your team. Then Michael Waltz, the team in Mal did a great job as well. Great work, all powerful start.
I think MAR might be Marco Rubio.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
And I just a quick question, Colonel Wilkerson, correct me if I'm wrong, but would this, technically speaking, be them violating the Espionage Act?
Well, John Kiriakou passed an email around here recently saying that he was convicted under 3 parts of the Espionage Act for the very same thing that is happening here. Right. And of course, he went to prison. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, but it's not going to happen. You hear Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, dismissing everything. Just dismissed everything as if there was no problem whatsoever. Now, let me say something about other data that was released. One of the things that is most dangerous to release to the public or to do in any way violate the security that should surround it. And let's disabuse ourselves of this idea that operational data is not supposed to be classified. That's hogwash. It's the highest classification in the land. It's classified by soldiers and sailors and airmen's blood. So you go out there and you leak this information, and then something does happen because you leaked it and you get people killed. Now, fortunately, that didn't happen here, but it very well could have if it got out into the domain where other people could have done something about it. Like, for example, set up air defense systems that were along the line of attack and such. That's probably not within the capacity of the Houthis. So they knew that they were operating against an enemy that probably wouldn't be able to take advantage of it. I fault Goldberg here too. Goldberg sat on it once he figured out it wasn't a hoax. He at first thought it was a hoax. He sat on it because he knew he could make journalistic riches out of it. He should have picked up the phone and called his buddy, Doug Feith's son, who's an NSC staff member, and he and Jeffrey, I understand, communicate with one another periodically. And he should have said, you need to get to Waltz and tell him the status out there. They need to postpone. They need to change the date and time or whatever, because this risks troops' lives. Nothing used to irritate Colin Powell when he was chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff more than people letting operational data out. That's the ultimate goal. You don't want your troops to be in danger because you leaked information putting them in that danger. And that's the potential here. And they're dismissing it as if it were nothing. Now, think about this. If Hegseth were of the other party, if this small group was a Democratic group, Johnson would be leaping from the podium in the House. Special committees, we're going to investigate this. We're going to put all these people in jail and everything. But it's his people that did it this time. Now, the Democrats are the same way. They would have been the same way. But this is nonsense when it comes to troop safety. It just shouldn't happen. And the idea that it's not classified because it isn't stamped with top secret code word on it is just poppycock.
And of course, there's another scandal here, right? Which is that we're bombing Yemen.
Yes. We've been at war with these poor people for almost 2 decades now, helping the Saudis, the Emirates, and others, and we haven't beat them yet. That ought to tell us something. That ought to tell us something. They have got insurers not willing to insure shipping. They've got shippers not willing to ship in a place that's more important than the Persian Gulf. About 50 to 60% of the commerce in the world passes up through that area. We had a tabletop at the U.S. Institute of Peace recently closed down by Donald Trump. Incidentally, that tabletop was sponsored by Central Command and Africa Command. We had the military all over the Peace Institute. And we were talking about this area of the world, the Bab el-Mandeb and the Red Sea and all the commerce through there. Now it's pretty much stopped because of Al-Ansar, the Houthis. That's incredible. They are some kind of valiant fighters. You just got to take your hat off to them.
Yeah, and they're totally demonized and vilified as these terrorists and murderers. When how many people have we killed in Yemen? We being the United States Army, the military.
Yes, we and the Saudis and the Emiratis.
Yeah,
yes.
right. I mean, it's disgusting.
It's disgusting, really. It truly is. And I got to say this for them. They have said, they've been very explicit. Stop the genocide, let humanitarian assistance get in, and we won't do a thing. And they did stop during the ceasefire. They started up only again when Netanyahu started up again. They've been very explicit about that.
Yeah, again, like incredibly moral position.
The only Arabs with a set of cojones.
Yeah, to find out how to say that in Arabic.
I wish I did. I wish I did.